way. And if you want to just start by introducing yourself, that would be great.
Absolutely. And Jenny, I don't know that I can see the questions, if there are questions that come up while I'm in my full presenter mode.
Okay.
So if you see some come up, will you go ahead and just interrupt me and let me know?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. All right, are we ready?
We are ready.
Great. Thank you, Jenny. Well, I'm Katie Solis, and I'm the Chief Communications and Operations Officer for Workforce Development Council, and I'm also the Program Manager for Idaho Launch. Idaho Launch is a brand new program. It just started in October of 2020, and it was really jump started by the CARES Act funding. We had this idea through the Workforce Development Council. Their outreach committee had this idea of, there's kind of this vacuum of information for transitioning adults who might be moving from one career to another, about the training that is available for them and how they sort of match make that training to career opportunities. And so while we were working on uh, next the next step site, which is another great resource if you haven't checked it out, we wanted to kind of fill the gap. And so we began making this site that would allow Idahoans to regionally explore training opportunities that connected to in-demand careers. And we were about to launch on March 30th of 2020. And I think we all know how that went. And so we pivoted. And we took what had been developed, and we were really lucky to get connected with the CARES Act dollars. And what that allowed us to do, in combination with a change by the Workforce Development Council in the policy regarding the Workforce Development Training Fund, it allows us to either assist or pay for tuition costs for Idahoans to engage in short-term training. So really taking away one of those high-level barriers. So what I want to cover today is really giving you a basic understanding of Idaho Launch. I think when you walk away from this, you'll know who qualifies for the program, and hopefully I'll be able to get in and show you a tour of the launch site. And then of course, lots of bonus information. And as you can see, the URL is right there at the top of that slide. So we really wanted to, again, remove barriers with this program. And one of, I think, its best parts is how open it is. So really, the two restrictions on this program are that participants must be an Idaho resident, and they must be planning to use the benefit to work in Idaho. Like, that is really your screening test right there. Are they an Idaho resident, and do they plan to work in Idaho? So every Idaho resident who's planning to work in Idaho, if their employment was affected by COVID-19, and that's kind of a wide view of what affected means. I mean, many of us have had to take time off to be at home with a kiddo who maybe had their school canceled, or we've been laid off for, 1 or 2 days back in March, or maybe still. But really thinking when you're working with someone, were they affected by COVID-19? And we are able to cover 100% of tuition for launch approved courses for those individuals. And I would just throw out there that that money is running out. We have a limited amount of dollars for the COVID portion of launch. And so I believe we're just in around $100,000 that we have left. And we've So we're starting to go through that. I expect we'll be going through that in the next month or so, probably by May. But that being said, launch is still going to go on. And we have the ability through the Workforce Development Training Fund to pay for 75 to 90% of tuition for everyone else. So regardless of if you had someone who was affected by COVID-19 or not, Launch is still a fit as long as they're an Idaho resident who wants to work in Idaho. So here's the basics. There is a $7,500 max benefit. So that means, any Idahoan who wants to go in, if their course or program costs up to $7,500, if they were affected by COVID, 100% of that can be covered. If they weren't, 75 to 90% can be covered. It is a once in a lifetime benefit. So really encouraging individuals to think through what they want to engage in. There are courses in Launch where the course cost might be only a couple of $100s. So really thinking about, is that all that they want to pursue while they're in there? Because a program can include more than just one course. So, there's an example here. If someone was engaged in an apprenticeship, their program could include all 4 years of the associated training with that apprenticeship. If, say, they wanted to do medical billing, but they need to go and get some basic computer skills first, they could get, some Excel courses or Office, Outlook, whatever they need through their Udemy membership, and then also go ahead and get that medical billing. So this is really what the training that's available on Launch kind of hovers around. These are 42 skills that were identified through a large-scale survey of employers that was done summer of 2020. So this is pandemic relevant. And these were the 42 skills that those employers across all industries identified that they would be most likely to be hiring for in the next few years. And the whole site really pivots around these skills and the training that's associated with them. So we've already started to see some trends. We've had over 200 people contract with Launch at this point in time. We've had about 2,000 say that they're interested and are somewhere in the process or may have qualified for other programs such as WIOA. But what people are really gravitating towards is far and away CDL related trainings. We have a high rate of people wanting to do that CDL. Next is medical billing, but we're really seeing, again, as you can see from this list, that people are seeking training throughout all of the different industries. And I just want to take note. I know a lot of Idaho towns are really in need of those who are engaged in these fields right here, electrical, HVAC, plumbing. And Launch does cover apprenticeships in electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. And those are out of the state institutions. We're also almost completely done with figuring out MOUs with the training centers associated with the AFL-CIO. So really looking forward to getting more of those apprenticeships available through Launch that can be covered for payment. So just a little bit of information about the survey that we conducted last summer. You can see this is just kind of to give you an idea of where we saw responses. It was really, we did see good response throughout the entire state. And, in some regards, it matches up fairly well to where our population bases are. But you can also see that we did get good representation throughout all of our industries as well. This is just, so when we were sending out the survey, we wanted to make sure that those who were actually in answering the survey really did have something to do with the hiring process. And as you can see, we were able to get 74% of our respondents are highly influential in the hiring process. And many of them are, again, marking at that manager, or even the highest level was the executive who were responding to this survey. So it really is those folks who are making the decisions. And as you can see from this slide, and this was a bit of a surprise. People are and were even when we were just that close into the pandemic, were attempting to and planning to hire. In fact, many 78% had already attempted to hire at that point in time. So as you can see, we were already seeing that employers were still trying to fill those gaps. And in very large quantities. So here's, you see how many we're expecting to hire, between 1 and 10, 11 to 50, 50 and 200, and then 200 plus employees within the next, I believe that's within the next 2 years. Oh, it says down at the bottom, 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, and 12 to 18. So this is, we really wanted to see, since our whole, the whole kind of background of Launch was to match those skills up to trainings. We did want to see, okay, where are the trainings coming from that employers are looking to hire from? And we could see here from this that, yeah, a lot of them really did trust the colleges and universities. And that's one of the reasons that we, our first pass, of course, we have our wonderful partnerships with all of our state institutions, and they were just wonderful in coming up with, at the workforce training centers, coming up with matches to these skill sets. And that just wonderfully matches up with what it looks like employers are also looking for. So we currently have, I think my sign's on there backwards. We have more than 390 courses that are available through Launch. And there's also 5,000 or more available through Udemy Business. Pretty much everybody who signs up for Launch should also be asking for or should be getting a Udemy Business membership. And that's an online platform that allows individuals, it's self-paced, they go through as many courses as they want, but there are so many matches to the skill sets that employers are looking for on Udemy Business. And the other thing that I really like about Udemy is that even for those individuals who do not have access to internet, if they are able to get their device, whether that's a phone or an iPad or their computer, to a hotspot somewhere at a library or at a school, and they can download the course information, they're able to actually complete those courses without internet connection. And so that allows for another point of access. And then when they get back on the hotspot or back on the internet, all of their progress in those courses uploads into Udemy for them. On that note, we know that, not everyone has access to an in-person experience right now or ever through our institutions. And many of the courses that are available on Launch are available online. There are also in-person courses for those skills that really do have to be learned in person. So I just wanted to just touch on a couple of our really early successes. We've had several people actually already go through and finish their CDL program. One is a first generation citizen. and he is supporting, he's a young man, only 23 years old, and he is currently supporting his little brother. And he was able to go through the Top Gun CDL program and is already employed and is feeling very proud about his ability to support his family. Sylvia, she was a nanny, and when the pandemic hit, she lost her employment and was unable to find. She'd been a nanny for 12 years and was unable to find employment in that field any longer. And she did some research and figured out that what she'd really like to do is go ahead and go into medical billing and coding. So she's enrolled and is enjoying the courses. And then we have Sarah, who she had been working at the school cafeteria, and the grounds folks had actually brought her in and said, hey, can you do some stuff for us on the side? Can you help us? And she'd really found that the electrical pieces were really interesting to her. And when it was actually her employer who approached her and said, if you can go and get this training as an electrical technician, we can actually give you a job outside of the cafeteria, and we can promote you to doing some of this work that you like. So some really exciting things happening, people seeing that, that cash barrier is no longer a barrier when they're connected with Launch. So let's go ahead and see if I can get this. I'm going to stop sharing and then start sharing again and see if I can get my, give you a tour of Launch.
Again, this is Jenny. Please feel free to enter any questions you have in the chat box.
Oh, please. I'd love to talk to you about what you're thinking about this. Jenny, are you able to see my screen with
Yes.
Launch on it?
Yep.
Fabulous. And you're not able to see my messy desktop?
Correct.
Wonderful. So, since we have started Launch, I have had some pretty amazing conversations with people. I've been, doing 2 to 3 of these a week, where I'm showing people the site and brainstorming ideas. And one of the most exciting ideas that I think has come up in the past month or so is really thinking about Launch from an employer standpoint. And thinking about, okay, maybe you don't have the capacity or the size or even the desire to apply for a workforce development training fund grant to upskill your workforce. Maybe there's just 1 or 2 of your incumbent employees who really have a lot of potential, and you could promote if you were just able to get them that skills training to bring them to the next level. And I think that's one of the places that Launch can really shine. I mean, it's good for those individuals who really, who are unemployed and who are looking to upskill, but it's also good for those who are employed and have a lot of potential. So this is the site. And I do want to give you the caveat that we are right now in the process of doing some streamlining based on the user feedback that we've received over the past months. I'm a big fan of continuous improvement, and I think we've learned so much about how people are using the site. One really hopeful thing is that we know that people are staying on the site. We've had 16,000 visitors, and they're staying on the site for an average of 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a pretty long time when you're looking at an average. So if you're going to remember nothing else about idaholaunch.com, please remember the URL, idaholaunch.com, and then you'll be able to get here and remember everything. But if you're only going to take one thing away, it's this item right here. So this is the magic button. And it's on every single page in Idaho Launch. And this is what an individual has to do if they want to be connected with that benefit. They need to click on this button right here, apply for training funds. There's lots of pathways that can get them through there, but this is the one-stop, real quick way to get there. And I'll show you what happens when they do. Really, we tried to design Launch to be as low, as few of strings as possible for individuals. And so when they apply for training funds, the first step, all they have to do is put in their full name, their email, their zip code, and if they've lost employment due to COVID. Those are the only required fields for them. Once they hit this apply for funding button, their email address and name is sent to one of the local Idaho Department of Labor career planners. And those career planners then reach out to the individual and have an actual advising session with them where they're able to look through not only what the individual might be interested in, but also talk through, you know, where that might lead them and what their greater career plans are. So if you're going to remember nothing else from this, remember this right here. This is the magic button. That's where they have to go in order to get launch funding. So I'll just do a quick tour of the site for you. If you are looking to talk about Launch, the best place to go is About Launch. And that's where you can find a lot of the information that I've been sharing with you today in kind of bite-sized pieces that you could share out to your networks. I also would tell you, please don't hesitate to come to me personally, and I'd be happy to connect you with resources. I'd also be happy to do a tour session for any employers who are interested or anyone else who it might be helpful to show this site. The first piece I'm going to show you is by skill. So we have, because this site was designed primarily for adults who might be transitioning or being promoted or whatever it may be, but they're making a change in their career. We know that those adults probably already have some skills under their belt. They've already been in the workforce. They've already picked up a few things. And so we wanted individuals to be able to go through and select the skills that they've already got under their belt. So let's just say someone has their CPR card and they are very good at time management. They would select those skills, go ahead and click Submit Skills, and it will bring them to a couple of different industries that they might look at engaging in. And I like this for us adults because even though I work in government right now, that doesn't mean that my skills are only transferable to the industry that I'm currently in. And I think for some people who have been working in the same industry for a long time, it might be helpful for them to see that, hey, I could actually, I have some skills that could transfer into another complete different industry. So all of these are expandable, and all of the pathways that you take lead kind of like a river to the actual trainings that are available. So every space, yeah, you will get a little bit of information, a little bit of nugget of truth that came from our survey. But all of the pathways eventually lead you to that training page. And so that training page can also be found here, but that's kind of our third route. So an individual can explore by skills and go in and see the skills that they've already attained and see what other industries those might transfer to. They can also search by region. Although many of the trainings that we have are cross-regional or they're online, so someone throughout the state could take them, individuals might be interested about what's happening specifically in their region. And this gives people the ability to see, hey, okay, the top survey respondents in southeastern Idaho were in these industries. Here I can download a labor report and learn a little bit more about what's going on in my region. I can also see the skills that employers in my region were really looking for, the top 3 professional skills and professional qualities. Then I can also see some jobs that were trending that are trending in my region. And as you can see, the same, all of these pathways really lead to the training opportunities that are available. But this gives you a regional lens on those skills. You can also put an industry lens on those skills. So if you're interested in, let's say, going into the technology industry, this will give you an idea of the top professional skills and professional qualities that the technology industry identified as important to them. You can also see some of the top jobs that are coming up. And again, these pathways will lead you towards those actual training results. So kind of last in our hierarchy is going directly to the source. And this might be for individuals who really know what they want to do and need to do a little bit less research. They understand what's in demand in their area, or again, for an employer who knows what they need and they just need to find out what training is available for their employers or their employees. So here you can see all of the skills that were identified. We are working specifically on making this page more user-friendly, but you can go through and via any of these different skills or professional qualities and go ahead and hit submit. I think it worked. Let's see. And once you get to there, you're able to go and see the institutions that are offering coursework that matches up with that skill. And then as you scroll down, you're able to see the actual courses that are available from the institution. So if you were to click on each of these, you'd see the specific courses that are available. Once an individual finds the course that they'd be interested in, they can go ahead and click through, and it actually pulls the information from the course that they were shopping and puts it into the form for them so that they can really have that full picture when they go and talk to their career planner. Now, this isn't the same as signing a contract on this course. They're still going to have that advising conversation with the career planner, and then they'll go through a contracting process. The other piece that happens at that point in time is they are also screened for other programs that may be available to them. So if, for instance, WIOA is a better match for them, then the career planner will go through and make those adjustments. So this is Idaho Launch. I'm going to show you one more research. So this is our partner toolkit. You can find it at idaholaunch.com toolkit. And here you will find all of the materials, videos, text, posters, flyers, counter cards that you might need to share the word out about Launch. If, for instance, you are an employer and you want to make sure that your employees en masse know about this program, here would be a great place to go and get some materials that you could put out around your workplace or even email out to your staff. And here you will find some different lengths of program descriptions that you can throw into an email. We are doing some fairly heavy outreach regarding the program right now. And so you will likely see the program out and about and around. So that would conclude my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have about launch.
So I've unmuted everyone. So if anyone has a question, you can speak up or you can enter it in the chat box. I think I have a comment as I was looking through the site the other week. I was kind of thinking, I work with a lot of manufacturers, and what caught my attention was, especially if you're talking about promoting from within or upskilling your current workforce, it's like you might have some manufacturers or machinists that are looking to move up in the company, maybe do sales or marketing. And what I love is that they can take some sales courses or marketing or customer service to enhance those soft skills that they may need to move up in a manufacturing industry where they've been more technical. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, that is one of the, I would say, dream applications of launch, is really really kind of stretching those boundaries of where people have been and saying, hey, really, we just need to get a couple of different skill sets under your belt.
Let's see, any other questions?
Jenny, this is Colleen.
Hi, Colleen.
I just wanted to, I guess, more of a comment than a question. So in trying to figure out how to present this to our employers and residents as a really great option for them, I decided that I would sign up for it. And I have to say, it was such an easy process. And, you know, that there's a lot of moving parts to this, but you know, the launch group facilitated the conversations with the right people. Udemy, I am still trying to sort through all of the options on there. So I just started with a couple classes, and I was just really impressed with the availability of that it's there for a year. So as many skill sets and certifications, whatever you want to do, is just there at your fingertips to cram in that year time. So I just wanted to thank you guys for putting this together, because I think this is a really amazing asset for our communities, and being able to do it on your own timeline, and then the guidance through it. And I did some of the skills assessments, which are pretty in depth, and I found out some different things that I might pursue some additional skills in.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so glad you're finding it valuable. I think it just has such great potential, especially if we can just get the word out about it.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, Katie, we certainly appreciate your time. And like I said, I have recorded this, so we'll send it out to all our partners and businesses again, and have it posted on our website.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for having me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you so much. It's very
Thanks, guys.
informative.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks, Jenny and Katie.
Thank you, Jenny.